the first podcast that is not in person because Emily and I were not able to meet this month, which is sad. We're very sad about that.
I'm also sad about that.
But we're making do. So this is an audio only podcast. I don't know what I'm going to do for visuals. I don't know if I'm going to have it change based off what we're talking about or if it's just going to be a still image. Um,
It should
but regardless.
it should be a picture of Salem's like sleepy face.
Yes, if you could send me a picture of Salem's sleepy face, I will make that the still image on the background of this particular podcast.
Thanks. When my cat gets really tired, she squints her eyes like 420 blaze it and just kind of like half looks at you like squinting. But you can't like she can't see anything, but she's still trying to hang, but she can't. It's cute.
That's kind of like you in college when we'd be talking in our living room and then you'd start getting so tired and I'd be like, Emily, just go to bed. And you're like, no, I'm awake. It's very clear that you're about to fall asleep.
Yup.
Also, we're doing this recording over Zoom. So if the audio is not the best or whatever, bear with it because this is just, in 2021, if you're not using Zoom, who even are you? So
Google Meets who? Who's she? We don't know her.
I use Microsoft Teams like exclusively for work, but the thing is that all these different softwares, how much you get out of it depends on like if you're paying for it or if it's free. So we have an in with Zoom, so that's what we're using.
We got that young Zoom license.
I wanted to ask you a question, Emily, in terms of YouTube and YouTube channels. Do you have any channels that you used to watch that either you don't watch anymore or are actually like those people aren't uploading, they haven't uploaded in like a long time and maybe they might still be active, but you're not sure on it. Is there any channels like dead quote unquote YouTube channels that you have or interacted with?
I don't think this is a dead channel because I think she still makes videos. But do you remember Michelle Phan?
Oh, does she make videos? I thought she doesn't.
No, I think she does, but I haven't seen one in probably a decade.
Wow. I remember looking it up like years ago and that she'd actually taken a break off YouTube for like multiple years, but I never I don't know if she came back or not. But she was like the OG beauty YouTuber.
Yeah, she was like one of my first subs. Like I was like the first person to sub to her. I wasn't the first person, but she was one of the first people that I subbed to.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when I stopped watching her, she had just released an entire line of makeup under her own brand. And I was like, yeah, that's cute, but like, ain't nobody got money for that. I was like 10. I was like, no. And that was the last I saw of her. Like, I don't know what happened. I don't know if I'm still subscribed to her and she just doesn't make videos or if I unsubbed at some point, which is rude. I don't know why I did that. I don't know. Where's Michelle Phan? Where are they now? I have questions. Rip. I mean, I think she's still around, but like rip. Rip anyways.
I think she pursued the mainstream. Like I think she pursued her makeup line and like she became more in that realm versus YouTube videos probably.
Who else? I don't know when Shane Dawson was before he was canceled. Do you remember he had like he switched YouTube channels when he started making docuseries? Do you remember that? Like when his channel went from like being joking to serious, and he actually like created a new channel and moved channels. And I think the first one was called Shane Dawson TV or something like that. And that was where all of his skits were. And so for a period of time, they were like coextensive. Like he would post on one channel and the other. And then eventually when he started getting into the docuseries stuff, he just moved over to the other one that everybody knows now, like if you were to like search him. But for a long time, he had like a joke channel kind of thing where like he just did skits, and that's where all the problematic stuff is, like the things he was canceled over, they exist there. And I think it's still up, but I would assume it's a dead channel. Like I don't think he's posted on it in like 5 years.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that he created a new channel. This is new information to me. I think it's because every time I was never subbed to Shane, so anytime I ever looked up his content, like I would just type in the YouTube search like Shane Dawson, and then whatever video came up or whatever came up is what I clicked on. I don't think I ever paid attention. I didn't realize that he had made another channel.
Yeah, I think there was like a rebranding moment, you know?
You have a lot of OG people that you followed on YouTube specifically. Like you've been following them for a long time. Like I know you're an OG Jenna person, you're kind of an OG Shane person. Like you've kind of followed these like older YouTubers that have just been doing this for years for
That's
a
how
while.
Trisha paid us, because her and Shane Dawson were friends. And on his old channel, they used to do this thing called Train, and it was Trisha and Shane collab.
Oh.
Train, it's cute. And they had this whole little like monologue they would do at the beginning where it was like choo choo, like because they would like eat food. That was like their thing, and it was, I don't know, something that was like choo choo, chugga 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 chugga, or something like that. And it was because that was like their little thing at the beginning, and they would do like mukbangs before they were like a thing. Like they would buy like Valentine's Day candy and sample them on camera. And
Ah.
I used to watch Shane's skits, and then that's how I found out about Trisha. And then I like ended up watching Trisha for like 10 years too. So, and now they're no
Wow.
friends either. So,
That's on 2021.
yeah, isn't it? What about
I
you?
think
Dead channels?
so. In terms of OG YouTubers that I've watched, these aren't dead channels. They just don't post as frequently. Superwoman, I used to watch Superwoman back when she was still at her parents' house. That was a thing. And um, I think she still posts videos. They're just not as frequently. I don't know. I was never subscribed. I would binge. And then Ryan Higa, I watched a lot of his. I found him later. Like I didn't subscribe to him like way back when. It's been like 2013 or something, which is not that long ago. But I've been following him for a good amount of time, and it's not a dead channel. He just doesn't post as much anymore. He created a second channel called like Higa TV, and that's where he posts like he does a lot of Twitch streaming. That's what he's been doing a lot of. So he's very active on that channel because he does like Twitch stuff and he posts it on there. But those two channels are kind of, I mean, they're not dead. I think they're still active. They're just, not posting as frequently. But an actual dead channel that actually like changed a lot of it actually randomly impacted me is Marzia's channel. I think I told you about this.
Mhm.
But Marzia had her own channel, and when she she deleted her entire channel. So it's not that she stopped posting and left all the content up. She deleted all the content. Um, and it was right before her wedding, because like the last few videos had been her documenting like the different wedding dresses she was trying on and stuff like that. But Marzia's channel surprisingly changed, or like it really like influenced me, because I binge watch her channel, and she's so aesthetic, right? Like she's one of those like aesthetic people, and she has a very like, she like always dresses nicely, and makeup, and even her house is always like decorated nicely. And I remember it was this turning point. I'd binge watched so much of her videos, and I looked around my room at the time, and I was like, "Oh my God, my room is so not cute." I all of a sudden I was so aware of the fact that like my room could be optimized. And I got up and I changed my shelf. Like I redid one of the things on my shelf, and it suddenly looks so much cuter. And I was like, "Wow." Like this, I don't know. It wasn't that big of a change. I think I just moved some books around to make it just look a little bit nicer. But it for me it was like, wow, I can be more, like I can have. I always thought that in order to like be aesthetic and cute you needed to have certain things, but then I was able to make what I had look cute, and I was like, there is hope. Like, and then that's when I really like, I've always been into organization, but that's when I really got into like making things look aesthetic in some capacity. And she also introduced me to the concept of so she had this series where she was like she had these notes for each month, and she would write like 3 things that she wanted to do each month. And I think the one she made a video on was like one of the things that she wanted to do in the month was like pet a goat or something. So she like went to go find a goat to pet and everything. But I like that concept so much that I truly like integrated into my own lifestyle, and now I have monthly notes. They're not 3 things, but I have like a list of things that I try to get done every month, but also just things I try to do every month. Like my months are more structured now. I have a goal that by the end of it, and it all ties into my bullet journaling. And I know, but that was like where it started. It started because I watched that video of her being like these notes, and I was like, I should also do that. And then I started doing that with my journaling, and then now it's like a whole other level because I bullet journal and it's a whole thing. But that's a random channel that I would not have expected like to mean anything to me other than because it's just like cute aesthetic content. But it like actually transformed the way I live my life in a way. And so I don't know. And now it's just gone. Like she doesn't post anywhere other than like Instagram, I think.
That's
So
why I don't understand how anyone would take down their content, because you can make money on it long after you really even care about it. I just think it's like passive income. It can't be that much, but I'm sure people still would go back to watch it.
I think she started to feel like she was sharing too much of her life. Or I don't know I don't remember the exact reason she stopped posting, but I think it came to like, it became like a privacy concern. I don't think it was like a security issue. I think it was just she felt like there was a lot of her life out there, and that I think that's why she deleted all her videos, because for her, I think that's what it like boiled down to.
Honestly, though, there's no way to get your stuff off the internet. Like, I had a random number call me the other day. No, they texted me, and I Googled that number. I knew exactly who it was because I found their freaking address. Like, it's crazy. I mean, everything's out there.
That's true. That's true. But I think, I don't know. I think it was like leading up to her wedding. It's so sad because I totally wanted to see the whole wedding process like play out. But I think that's like what might have triggered it in her. I don't know how many re-uploads of her content is out there. I mean, there might be a few. She had a good following, a good number of people following her, but I think she was actually able to like distance herself. Like I think she achieved what she wanted to achieve out of deleting her channel for the most part. I don't think it was like she was so worried that people would use it against her or anything. I think it was just like she wanted space, and I think she achieved that. But yeah, I don't know. That's just a random channel. And obviously Unisanis, which is the reason that this channel exists, is because I was thinking for such a long time. I know, Emily, I like told you about like what if I start a YouTube channel, but then I was like, I don't know what I would make videos on. And that's still true. Like I don't really know what my channel is about. But for the sake of trying something new, Unisanis was a good like motivator.
Rip.
Yep. Right. Is this the Salem hug? Is that what this is?
Kind of, but this is also like the side hug. So, not to always bring things back to my cat, but she's like attached at my hip. Whenever I'm in Zoom meetings, occasionally my cat will come up and put her 2 paws on my shoulder and like want a hug. And we've started this hug thing. And at first, I thought she was like intuitively noticing when I needed one, and so I thought it was really cute. But now I think it's just because she wants attention. It actually has nothing to do with me whatsoever. And but yeah, this is kind of, see there, that was kind of the hug. We do the hug. It's really cute. It's cute when I'm doing things like the podcast. It's not cute when I'm in the middle of something for work or school and she's all up in my face and then everybody's distracted by me. But cat life.
She's really going to struggle when when you have to leave for longer periods of time.
Yeah.
I'm worried about her.
I think that's going to be one of the biggest things that's going to be hard to go back to after COVID, like post COVID. I think a lot of people that have pets have been talking about how their pets are going to go through some sort of depression when they go back to work full time or school full time or whatever it is. And I don't know, I keep like brushing it off, but I think it is actually going to be a serious problem for a lot of people. And yeah, I mean, they're like kids.
Yeah. I think that's it. One of the biggest like because, as when quarantine started, after like, I would say after a few months, because in the beginning it was like new and it was like, oh, this is a thing. But then once it went on for long enough, people are like, what's the first thing you're going to do out of quarantine? Like, what do you want to do? But that's not really the question, is it? It's like, what, it's such a gradual process. Like, I think when we went into quarantine, it was such a jarring like cut. It was like a normal cut quarantine that it almost felt like at the end of it, it'll be the same jarring cut. It'll be like quarantine cut normal life. And that's just not obviously how it's going to go, because it's going to be such a slow progression of opening things up. So it's like now I can do things that I couldn't do this time last year, right? But do I still like feel safe to do them? Right? Because it's like a lot of people. I mean, I remember you when me and you were talking about it, you told me you're like, one of the first things I want to do, I just want to go to a restaurant and just like eat at a restaurant because I just want to like order food and talk to a person, you know? And it's like now you can do that. That is available. That's an option. Things have opened up enough for you to be able to go to a restaurant. But it's like, do you still want to? Like, is it worth it to go to the restaurant? Like, it's so weird, because I think a lot of things that people missed um when they were in quarantine was like normal life stuff. They're like, I just can't wait to go to Starbucks, or and now you can do those things, but they aren't as like, it doesn't feel as free as it used to.
Yeah. I also don't think the COVID paranoia will ever subside within me. Like, I think I'm forever changed. I don't think I'll ever go to the grocery store and not want to wipe down the cart with a sanitizing wipe. I don't think I'll ever leave the house without, like at least a little bottle of Purell or whatever I can get. I don't think those habits will ever go away. And I never really had them before. Like, I mean, obviously I was hygienic before, I would wash my hands before I ate and whatever. But I don't think I'll ever look at everyday occurrences the same again. I'm always going to be wondering, did that person borrow my pencil and are they sick? Like, should I sanitize that pencil that I gave to my friend for 5 minutes? It's just always going to be like some paranoia that I have in the back of my head, even post COVID, if there ever even is a time post COVID. So
No, I agree, because I have these moments like throughout my life that it's like, it's so wild that like it didn't really matter. Like, these things didn't matter before. It's really interesting, the moments where you realize like this used to be, whatever. I had a friend come over to our house, but I had this moment where I was like, I don't know where this person's been, and they're just sitting on my couch or my bed or wherever. And it was so weird, because I've never had to think about those things. And now that I do, I agree. It's like the FedEx logo. When you see the arrow, you can never unsee it. Same concept.
or the Baskin Robbins 31 that you told me about that one time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You can't unsee it. It's like that. It's like, now that I'm so aware of these things, I'll never not be aware of them. Like, even in the future, even if there's not like a pandemic, it'll be like, I'm aware that this is happening now.
Sorry, I really tried to not disrupt the flow by doing that. I was like, oh,
No, no, that's fine. Honestly, I don't mind pauses, because it makes cutting, like editing, easier, because there's a long enough pause, because you can see it in the audio file when there's nothing, and then you see the spike and you're like, okay, I can just cut all this out. I realized while I'm talking, I often cut myself off and then continue the sentence. It might still be the same train of thought, so I'm not diverging what I'm saying. I just midway through my sentence decide to rephrase how I'm going to say it. And that's such a bitch when it comes to editing. This YouTube channel has really made me hyper aware of the way I talk. And I think a podcast, especially like long form talking, because with videos, it's not as bad, because I can just do takes over and over again. I'll just do this. I'll say the same thing 5 times until it sounds like right, you know? So with videos, it's completely edited. With something like a podcast, it's like you got to say it like it's like you're moving forward. So if you mess up something, or then you might just lose that portion of whatever you were talking about, because you're not going to go back and talk. I mean, we could, right? Like, because we're filming it, we could be like, oh, let's go back and talk about this. But then that just ruins the flow of the conversation. And then anyway.
Ethan Klein calls himself the Fresh Prince of Dead Air. Because he always like loses his train of thought, but he'll just nobody will pick up what he was saying, and there'll just be an awkward silence for a while. And he'll be like, "Welcome back. I'm the Fresh Prince of Dead Air."
Has anything happened in the YouTube realm? Any tea to spill? Because you brought up your podcast. I know they often spill some tea on there.
They do, but they actually kind of had their own drama this week because, well, so you know all the David Dobrik allegations, right?
Yeah, I think you told me about them.
So there's a lot of stuff in his past, actually not that, it's recent history, that he did blackface, he made jokes that were inappropriate, like appropriating race and in terms of race. And there's a lot of stuff that people overlook because when they think about David Dobrik, they think that he's very brand friendly and that, he's just really popular. I don't know very many people that say bad things about David Dobrik. And I think one of the reasons for that is that it's come out in the last couple of weeks that he actually like pays his friends to be quiet about things, his friends, quote unquote. Because there's this one guy who used to be in the blogs, and his name's escaping me now, but he's African American, and they used to do skits that were like black jokes. There was this one skit where David puts watermelons in the fridge, and then his friend goes to open the fridge, and all the watermelons come out, and it's supposed to be some kind of joke. I don't get it. It's not funny. I don't think it was funny then, but it's like it's going off of a stereotype that we shouldn't use. And nobody talks about it. This was like a couple years ago. Like it was not that long ago. And part of the scandal with David Dobrik is that same friend, I wish I could remember his name, also got, they say essayed, like sexually assaulted, on camera because David Dobrik pranked him and had one of his friends go into the bathroom that's a girl. And when she came out, it wasn't her anymore. It was his friend Jason. And his friend Jason kissed this other guy without his consent twice in 2 different videos. And neither time did he consent. And it was this whole issue. And Trisha Paytas very much does not like David Dobrik because he was insensitive towards her. He kept making threesome jokes about her, Jason Nash, and Tana Mongeau when they were on the vlogs together. And so Trisha Paytas always speaks out about David Dobrik's past, telling him to, just admit it and say he's sorry and move forward and try to do better, own it. And he never does. And Trisha's really the only person that speaks out against it until recently, because the H3 podcast has been giving people voices from the David Dobrik vlogs, having them on and telling their stories. And there's been a lot of there's been a lot of controversy around it because one of the workers at the H3 podcast, one of the production guys, Ethan had asked him during the show what he thought, and he essentially said that he thought that they were lying about the sexual assault. And they aired it, they let it go live on YouTube, and tons of people were pissed and were upset at H3 for posting that in the first place and for allowing their employee to say that on camera and not confronting it right away. They had to go, it's been a whole drama because Trish is really vocal about David Dobrik, and there are still people that don't see David Dobrik as problematic, which I'm having a hard time understanding now, but I think at one point a few weeks ago, I also didn't really see him as problematic. But yeah, and it's becoming a problem because David Dobrik now is starting to vlog again. Talk about a dead channel, or a channel that, wasn't active for a long time. At the beginning of quarantine, David Dobrik stopped posting altogether, which was insane because prior to that, he was posting, I think, 3 vlogs a week. And it was really intense and everybody looked forward to it. And it was a strict schedule. He never missed a upload when he was supposed to do it. And so when he stopped during quarantine, people weren't sure if he was going to come back. He was really only active on TikTok. Nobody knew what was going on. Since then, he's moved into this multi-million-dollar mansion with a bunch of friends, and they've started filming again. And he's also started like their podcast up again and all these things. And so, the question is like, is he going to self-correct and become a better person after all of these allegations while he's been gone? Or is he going to continue to go back to the way he was, making jokes that make people uncomfortable?
So H3 brought the people that had all these allegations against him, right? About like these jokes and stuff like that. And as they said all this, and then someone from the production team said that the guests on the show who were telling all these stories were lying.
Yeah, which is kind of hard to say because they're in the vlogs. So if someone's
Right.
telling you they didn't consent to what was in the vlog, and David cuts the footage to make it look like there was consent, you kind of have to believe the person that says they were a victim, right? I mean,
Right.
wrong not
I
to.
wonder if the reason, I mean, it's wild, right? Because like how I agree that I don't think many people, I mean, I've never really liked David Dobrik's content. That's just because it's not my kind of content. I watched a few of his videos and I don't know, the vlogs were just very like the two videos vlog things that I watched seem very like frat bro-y. It just happened, maybe it was just ones I clicked, or maybe that's his content, I don't know. And it wasn't like my thing. They were like, it was just like dumb shit, like filling a house with styrofoam peanuts, or like, throwing knives at a tree. Like it was fine. Like it wasn't like bad content. For what it's worth, I think some of that kind of content probably Unisanis has done, but I just liked it better when in the form. But I don't know, something about his content just didn't mesh with me and I never watched it. But I agree that most people that I know of had never really never thought that David was controversial at all. I think the way people talk about him, like Philip DeFranco covers him a lot, and he's never like said anything. It's usually like, oh, David Dobrik did some big scale thing, and that's why we're talking about it, because of this big scale thing. It's never been like he was a racist person or whatever. And it's really interesting how those things, even though they happen in the vlogs, I wonder if the reason, I mean, obviously, I guess like people are paid not to talk about it, but also I wonder if it's because if he had 3 videos a week, that's a lot of content, like every single day to shift through. And on top of that, when it comes to vlogs and stuff, if it's just things are cut or things are edited, a specific kind of way, that maybe that's why he got away with no one talking about it, is because there's so much content to shift through, in some capacity mask like this kind of stuff that was going on, because it was so in the background anyway. I think a lot of other creators for way less have been called out and nitpicked. So why not him? Like, why was he not called out and nitpicked? And
It seems, I think part of the problem is too, is where do we draw the line with prank channels? Not that David's a prank channel, it's not, but the things that he's being called out for now are things that were jokes or pranks or skits. And a lot of what he does like closely mirrors a skit on SNL, or, an amateur skit that you might see somewhere else, because he came up on Vine. So he does skits, and it's well known that a lot of his content is rehearsed to some degree. It might naturally have happened when they were hanging out, but he didn't get it on film, and so they'll replay it just to act it out for the camera. And everybody knows that. So with that in mind, would you assume that what you're seeing was not consensual? Because you would think, well, it's been rehearsed or it's a prank. And so, in order to film something that's a prank and to have someone on camera, you would have to get their consent first. But, now we're finding out that either that wasn't the case, or that people consented to it unwillingly. Like they didn't, it wasn't like a yes, I'll do that. It was like oh, I want to be David's friend. I need to make my rent this month, and David's going to pay my rent. I need to make these jokes, even if I know I shouldn't do it, because it hurts, who I am and my character.
yeah, that's
It's manipulative above all. That's what
yeah.
cost me as. I don't know that it's, inherently racist. I don't think David's like, a person that can't redeem himself. I just think that he's very manipulative, and he'll make people do things that they're uncomfortable with, but they don't realize that they're uncomfortable doing it until it's too late. And
So like a frat brother.
yeah, and I think that's just how he makes his money, and he kind of preys on people that have something to lose, and he doesn't. So, you know, like Trisha Paytas lost a ton of her following when she got off the vlogs. The vlogs are so popular that, you know, you get a lot from being on them, even if he doesn't pay you. So to be kicked out or whatever, you know, it hurts you more than it hurts David. And his friends don't get paid for being in the vlog. They only get paid, you know, if a problem comes up and he wants to quiet it. And David never speaks out on these controversies. He never addresses them. You'll never see an apology video from David. He doesn't do it. He refuses to do it. So David strictly posts vlogs. That's it. And if it doesn't make the vlog content, he won't do it. So if people try to get him to talk about these controversies, he won't address it. And I think, you know, staying silent on it is how he gets by, because he doesn't make headlines because there's nothing to write about because he doesn't say anything. And then people are so uncomfortable and need his financial support or his popularity or whatever he can provide them that everybody just stays quiet. And that's like a master manipulator.
Wow. Yeah, no, I think you make a good point. If you're quiet on it, if there's not enough people talking about it in the first place, and then you don't address it to bring even more eyes to it, it makes sense how it would fly under the radar. That's wow. That's so unfortunate. It's unfortunate because I think he really is of an overall well-liked creator. Like a lot of people, I think, you know, that liked him and liked his content and stuff. And it's just like he almost came across, or the image that he has projected for such a long time is one of the good ones, you know, one of the, and then just to find out that that was all an image and that's not actually true, that's very unfortunate. And it also is from someone coming like from such a big creator, you know?
Yeah. And he's really strategic too. Like his vlogs used to be mostly pranks and skits, but recently, like the last year, whatever content we've gotten since before quarantine and now a little bit after, apparently he stopped quarantining. The content's different. It used to be pranks, it used to be skits, and now those aren't recepted the same way by the same audience. And so now his content has switched over to like giveaways. He gives people cars, he gives people money. I remember in the middle of the summer, he drove around California and threw frisbees to people from his car, you know, to social distance. And under the frisbee would be like $1,000 or something like that, or a check or a t-shirt or whatever. And it's like he's riding the train of Mr. Beast, you know, seeing how Mr. Beast has become so popular doing that type of content, creating that way, because everything that Mr. Beast makes, he puts back into his videos to give away to people. Maybe he takes a profit off of it now that he's really popular and has a whole team, but that's how his channel started. And people really resonate with that kind of message, you know, giving back to the community, helping people that are not expecting it, you know, giveaways and rewards and things like that. It's really rewarding to watch. You get like serotonin from watching someone, you know, change their lives over giving them $1,000 for the rent, you know. And Mr. Beast is genuine about it, I think. David is questionable. You know, is he just riding the train of what people want to see and what'll get more views? I mean, his podcast that he has with Jason Nash is literally called Views. And all they talk about is how they do things for the views, you know. And so like what's genuine, you know, like what is he actually trying to do? And his content just keeps changing with the trends, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing, but it's just, given his personality, it just seems disingenuous.
Yeah, I think doing something or following a trend or doing something because it might get views is not necessarily a bad thing as long as you also want to do it. Like if for example, if I see it, maybe I'm going to use myself as someone who creates YouTube videos. If I saw like some trend that was happening that was getting a lot of views and I personally just liked the trend or I thought it was a cool thing to do, I might do it, but I would do it because I want to do it because I think it's cool. Obviously this is not my livelihood, it's not my business, so I can see why like as a business decision it would be beneficial to do that for the views. But I think and I think it depends, right? Because I think some people don't care if it's like for the views, they just want to see the content. I think for me is I've been spoiled on YouTube almost. I think the people that I watch and have kind of watched for a long time are people who are genuine, are people who started off like the OG. I think like our generation has the OG YouTubers, like, you know what I mean? Like watching someone like Superwoman or any of these older YouTubers, like start off from where they are to get to where they are when before it was even a job, you know. It's like become this, I'm so spoiled with people who genuinely started making content because they wanted to, and then they've continued to like stay genuine to the content they want to create and all that. And so I'm so like, and I understand that's not all of YouTube. And I don't think it's a bad thing to like want to be a YouTuber, right? It's like the same thing of wanting to be a movie star. Like it's not like bad, but for me, when it comes to creativity, I think whatever creative project you embark on should be for you before it's for anyone else. You can want to share it. I write, and there's writing that I do that I write because I think that like a lot of people might like it, you know, and I want to share it with people and I want to get people's reactions. And I understand that. But I think ultimately, like, you need to start and sit down and be like, even if it's one person or even if it's no one, like, make something because you want to make it, because you're excited of making it. And that's just like my belief on creativity as someone who has like a billion creative projects going on at any given time. That's how I view it. And so for me, making YouTube content is just another creative outlet. And for other people, it's not. It's just a way, like it's a career. It's like a way to make money. And I think that's just where like my mindset differs. So when it comes to someone, like when you talk about David Dobrik like this, it's so easy for me to just be like, I think he probably genuinely loves his job and you know what I mean? And that he wants to like make these videos, but yeah, I don't know. There's something about it that doesn't sound as genuine. And it's unfortunate because he's projected this image as one of the good ones. Because it's like if Jake Paul does something shitty, then you expect it because he already has this repertoire of not being a good person. It's like when someone is supposed to be like quote unquote good and then they do something that like shows that they're not good or that they're bad, it kind of hurts more. It's like, damn, like another one, you know? And
Yeah.
that's kind of what this sounds like with all this stuff coming out on David.
Yeah, and there's even more instances that I can't even think of, but Trisha talks about it all the time. She's really outspoken about it. But I think one of the other things too is that, you know, David has a lot to lose himself also. David's one of the only creators, maybe the only creator that has a brand deal with Chipotle. Chipotle doesn't just go around sponsoring people. You know what I mean? So I think David Dobrik is seen as a really, really brand friendly creator, and he has a lot to lose should any of this actually flare up and reach the mainstream and really like catch on with people. He could lose his entire livelihood. I mean, I don't think Chipotle would mess around to pull out from a brand deal with him.
Yeah, I didn't even know he had a brand deal with Chipotle, but yeah, it's interesting. So this all kind of like broke out. I mean, obviously, because I think you mentioned this in our first ever podcast, um, that we made in January. I think I remember we talked about David Dobrik and you told me about this. So clearly this has been going on for a while, but I know H3 podcast is a really popular one. So if it can blow up on that or blow up through that, if that can be a medium to bring this issue, then I wonder like where it's going next.
Yeah, and I think that's why they're doing it. Ethan Klein has mentioned several times because he's close with Trisha because they do a podcast together on the side. But he wants to give a platform to some of these voices and see if it takes, you know, because obviously there's a problem if, you know, multiple people from different friend groups and different creator groups and whatever are coming out and saying, hey, David's messed up and has done this messed up thing to me. You know, after a certain number of people do it, you start to believe it. And it just hasn't reached, you know, an audience that's willing to speak out about it yet. I think Trisha's one of the only people that's outspoken about it, and H3's given her a platform, and now they've actually given people that felt victimized a platform themselves. So we'll see. That's kind of what's changed from January, because all of this was being broadcasted loud and clear by Trisha for the last 6 months, but it hasn't really been taken up by anybody. Nobody's really come forward until now. So I think Trisha kind of paved the way for people to come forward and say, hey, he really wronged me also, and here's why, and I'm not going to let it continue to be thought of otherwise.
Well, that's good. That's good that that's the direction that things are heading. So we had a quick distraction because Salem was cute, and Emily had to go take a picture of Salem being cute to be the background of this podcast. But I've just a few updates on our last podcast that almost no one watched. but the Pillowcube did not reach out to us. Very disappointed. Pillowcube, if you're listening, why? We're ready to be, I could be a review channel. You know, the only reason I'm not right now is because that requires spending money on things. And given that I don't make any money off of this YouTube channel, it's a net loss for me. You know, I'm just losing money at this point. But Pillowcube, come on.
I'm ready to like drop my life and become a Pillowcube brand ambassador. Like, I don't know why they don't want me, but I'll give raving reviews as long as it's decent. You know, every pillow sucks, so it can't be that bad. Like, hook a girl up.
Well, update to just pillows in general. Since Emily, you said that I should try out a pillow for longer than 3 days. I'm currently attempting to do that. I think I had changed out my pillow Wednesday and today's Saturday or something like that. The point is I'm trying. I'm trying to use this like fluffy soft pillow, and it's working. I don't really like hate it, but I also miss my old pillow. Like, it's weird. I think I've gotten over the hump where it's not super uncomfortable to sleep on anymore, but I'm missing my old one.
You're pillow monogamous.
Yes, yes. You could say I'm pretty loyal. But I'm totally willing to sell out if you want to give me a free Pillowcube for review. But like, let's be real. You would want the pro. No one wants the size of a throw pillow to be their actual pillow, which is kind of what the $69 version of the.
But it claims to be so much more, you know?
Yeah, I don't know about you. I'm one of those people who sleeps with their arm underneath their pillow, and I couldn't do that with the 69 version of the pillow. So, but I'm willing to compromise Pillowcube if you want to send us one. This podcast started off so great. We talked about YouTube and we talked about tea, and it just devolved into being a slut for any kind of product sponsorship.
Not any kind. We have standards here. We just really want Pillowcube.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, I'm not gonna let like Bang Energy sponsor me. I mean, maybe you, but I'm not interested.
I
Save that.
No, Danny Gonzalez has a video on Bank Energy, and if you should watch that video, because I don't know if you know who the CEO of Bang Energy is.
Donates to Trump.
He is a character. Have you seen pictures of him? He has a gold chain of Bang Energy. He is a character.
Mm-hmm. But he's also like super problematic from what I've heard.
Well, I would never take Bang Energy anyway because I don't drink energy drinks. So.
Me neither, but I don't know, maybe Red Bull, I'd like, I'd give it a try. Well, actually, last time I had Red Bull, I was doing parkour in the middle of my neighborhood, so
I don't understand. I've never had Red Bull. I know what it smells like, and I presume it tastes like what it smells like. But why is Red Bull like so crazy? I once went to a sleepover where in middle school, so like this is very young. But
Red
like,
Bull?
Here's what happened. It was a sleepover birthday party, and we were all like 12 or whatever you are in like 7th grade. And it was like the equivalent of sneaking in booze, except there's no alcohol in Red Bull. So I don't know why it was such a big secret, but like it was a huge secret that she sneaked in Red Bull. And then everyone had it, and they proceeded to act like they were drunk. I have never been to a traditional quote unquote college party. That is something that was not part of my college experience. But that night, as a 12-year-old at that sleepover, I'm pretty sure that that's what it's like. Because there was this one who was just speaking in Japanese only, like as if she had forgotten English. Her and one other person sitting in a corner room speaking Japanese. Another person laying on the bed staring at the ceiling saying, "I'm on the ocean. There are waves around me." Like as if she was having either a psychedelic experience or, she felt the rocking of a boat beneath her.
That's dramatic though.
No, I know. No, but I'm not lying. This is literally what happened. This other girl was staring at the mirror as like she'd never seen herself before and was like, "Obama, president." And I'm like, yes. I was the only person that night who did not have Red Bull. Sober sister from the very beginning here. only person who'd have Red Bull because my job was to make sure the parents didn't find out. That was my job. But they literally acted like they were drunk, and there's no alcohol. And I think, in psychology, with the experiments they did where they like had people be prisoners and people be guards, and then they just really took on the role, and the guards like became vicious, and the prisoners were like, I'm sentenced for life, even though they were just normal people. That's like that idea of psychology like overtaking you, like being in an environment and thinking that's what's happening. That's what happened that night. That was the psychological thing, because I think it was like it took one person to start kind of acting crazy, and obviously they're hyped up on like caffeine, right? They're already hyped up. It took like two people to kind of like go overboard with it, and then everyone decided, like everyone just like, I think they were truly convinced of themselves. Like I don't think they were like faking it necessarily, but I think they like convinced themselves so strongly that this is like was happening. So one girl woke up with a hangover. She woke up with a headache and had to take like Advil the next morning. Like, you know what I mean? Like they really like played into it and they believed that it was happening. And anyway, so that was
They weren't around when they said it gives you wings. Like,
yeah, honestly.
I will say I do have one Red Bull in my fridge right now that someone left here like 2 years ago. I even moved apartments and brought this Red Bull with me, and I don't know why I did that because I don't drink it, and it's just one, and so it's not enough to like, even give it a fancy row in the fridge where it looks like it was intentional. It looks accidental, and it's staring at me on the top shelf, and I leave it there as a reminder that I can't drink things like that, because I had half a can once because it was in an alcoholic beverage and thought I was gonna die. Like, not kidding.
You mean it was a chaser?
No, it was Jaeger bomb. A Jaeger bomb is
has Red Bull in it. Yeah.
And I had never had one before, and it was free because we had friends at the place we were at that were going to buy us around. And when it's free, you don't question what it is necessarily. You're just like, yeah, it's free. Like, I saw it get made. It's not poisonous. Like, it's not going to kill me. It's just, going to impair me. And because that seems better. And then you drink it and you're like, oh no, was there Red Bull in this? Because I've never had one before. And everyone says, yeah, didn't you know that? And I said, no, because I was newly 21 and really stupid. And so I remember telling people that I felt like Batman and Superman. And then I did parkour in the street really badly and almost fell in heels. So, moral of the story, Red Bull, if you want to sponsor us, that's great. But sometimes you give people too much wings, like too much.
Too many wings. Are you sure? Maybe we wouldn't be able to handle a Red Bull sponsorship because it would be too many wings. You have to drink the product. That reminds me of that Hannah Montana episode where she gets sponsored by this like perfume, and the perfume, like she's going to get a car if she takes the sponsorship for the perfume, but the perfume is like raspberry, and she has some like PTSD with raspberry. Like she like threw up like a bunch of raspberry something. So anyway, she hates the scent. So the scent makes her gag, but she wants to keep doing the sponsorship because she wants the car that comes with it. And it's like one of those moral dilemmas of like, she wants the car, but also this, this perfume is actually like horrible and she hates the scent of it. That's us. It's like we want the sponsorship for Red Bull, but we would really struggle drinking it. And so we really morally shouldn't be asking for it.
No.
But everyone sleeps and everyone needs a pillow, so.
Yeah, and I could use a nice pillow.
That's true.
I am who they are marketing that pillow to. I need that pillow.
Yeah, just lower your prices a bit.
Or
also.
if they can't lower the price, because I understand that there's like a supply and demand and like they're trying to make a profit. I mean, I don't get economics, but I know that there is one. But, if they can't lower the price, then can they at least like do some kind of partnership with Target where they end up in Target? Because I swear when I walk in those red doors, my credit card knows no bounds, baby. Like, I will put that pillow in my cart and I will swipe like I'm out of there. So it's too much for me to order off their website specifically, because that reminds me about how I shouldn't be making this purchase. However, if they get some kind of deal with Target and it happens to be on an end cap somewhere, not gonna lie, I'd buy it. So Target can also hit us up.
Yeah, honest. I walked out of Target today. I went to Target today with 4 bags of Valentine's Day chocolate for $1.84. So I know y'all jealous of my Hershey's Kisses that are Valentine's Day themed. Also, I don't know what your local Target's at, but there were so many baked goods, like a whole shelf full of baked goods, and they're like 50% off. I mean, they're trying to get rid of this shit because it's baked goods and they go bad after a while. Cupcakes, sugar cookies. It's like there was so much left over, and my mom was like, "Oh, they probably just it's because people aren't having like Valentine's Day parties." And I was like, that must be why. But like anyway, I felt horrible looking at it because I know for a fact if they don't sell it by the Best Buy date, like they're just gonna throw out so many cupcakes. I bought 2 packs of cupcakes. But I'm just saying, like, it's someone please go buy them out and feed them to the homeless. Like, my God. The ones I saw, their Best Buy date was 2/25. So this podcast is gonna come out before then. So if you're listening to this, go to Target and make sure there's no baked goods that need to be saved on our amazing Not a Mukbang podcast. We like to end with a call to action. And I would say let's do some good in the world today and go to your local Target to make sure there aren't any Valentine's Day, specifically Valentine's Day. Don't go into the normal baked goods because those are fine. Specifically go to the clearance section of Valentine's Day and see if there's any baked goods that are on sale and save them before they will be thrown away when they reach their Best Buy date. And there should be some leeway here because if I went on the 20th and their Best Buy was the 25th, you have some time, but act now, call now, and you'll receive. I'm kidding. But yeah, thank you, Emily, for joining me again. Sorry, this one was a little bit different. It's even though the last 2 podcasts we meet up, we do make some sort of effort to quarantine or be safe about when we're meeting. And this month it just couldn't really work out that way. So that's why it happened over Zoom. So apologies. I will do the best I can in my editing to make the audio sound okay. But next month we will probably for sure, planning on for sure, be in person for March's podcast, and you'll be able to see our lovely faces because I know how much you've missed us. But yeah, anyway, thanks for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff that people tell you to do. Do it. You know what to do. And I hope you've enjoyed this picture of Salem.
Me too. I hope you've enjoyed it. She's super cute.
Okay, bye.
Bye.